Hello everybody, I hope everybody is having a great day today. I've got some new and delicious meal ideas for you guys for this week. I hope you all enjoy them. As usual, I will leave the links to the recipes or recipe books in the description box below, as well as my blog, so you can find all of my recipes there. So yeah, let's get into it. Alright guys, so for dinner tonight we're going to be making baked onion chicken. It's so easy, and we're also going to have some lemon asparagus on the side. So what you're going to need for the asparagus is you're going to need asparagus, some lemon juice, some olive oil, salt and pepper. For the baked onion chicken, all you're going to need is some salt and pepper, some onion soup mix that I just took a rolling pin to, or you could use a cup and just crushed it up a little bit. You're going to need some butter, a little bit of water, an egg, and some breadcrumbs. So I'm going to get you guys set up and we will get this going. You're also going to need some chicken. I just have 2 chicken breasts here that I just cut in half. So they cook at an even temperature and equally. Okay, so we're going to start off with our breadcrumbs. So I've just got some breadcrumbs here in a bowl. I'm going to add in my soup mix, a little bit of salt, not too much because there's salt in the soup mix, and as much pepper as you like. Now we're just going to mix this up until it's well combined. Alright, so I've got that done. Now I'm just going to add to my egg. I just have 1 egg. I'm going to add my water. And this is just going to be a egg wash to dip the chicken in and then put it into our breading. Okay guys, so I've got my little system here. I've got my chicken, my egg and water mixture, my breadcrumb mixture, and a pan with a Silpat on it. You can do parchment paper. So all you're going to do is just dip your chicken into your egg mixture. Let some of the excess drip off, and then into your breadcrumb mixture, and get that all nice and coated. And then onto your baking sheet. So I'm just going to finish this up and then we will move on and get these coated with some olive oil and some butter. Okay, so I've got all of these nice and coated. I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees. All I'm going to do now is just take a little bit of butter and dot the top of this with some butter. Don't have to have too much because we are going to be adding some olive oil to this. Okay, so I've got that on there, and I'm just going to drizzle this with a little bit of olive oil. This is just going to help it crisp up in the oven. And I'm just going to bake these for about 20 to 30 minutes or until they are completely cooked through. In the meantime, I'm going to make our asparagus right before these are done. So I'll meet you back here and I'll show you how to make the asparagus. Okay guys, so here is the asparagus. I just heated it up in the microwave per directions and then took it out, put it on a plate. You can double this if you want more asparagus. I just topped it with some fresh squeezed lemon juice, some olive oil, salt and pepper, gave it a little toss, and we're ready to eat dinner. So I'm going to plate this up and I'll show you what it looks like when I get it plated. Okay, so here is my plate. I just got some asparagus, some of the baked onion chicken, and some crushed cut tomatoes with some salt and pepper. And that is what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so for dinner tonight we're going to have Greek turkey meatballs and some quinoa. So for the quinoa, it's just quinoa and some chicken broth. For the sauce for the meatballs is just brown sugar, your favorite pasta sauce, and a cinnamon stick. For the meatballs, you're going to need some olive oil, a little bit of cayenne pepper, not much, I'm going to need some cinnamon, parsley, some garlic, cumin, salt and pepper, of course your turkey, your ground turkey. You can also do ground beef or chicken. That will work just fine. Some breadcrumbs, an egg, some fresh or bottled oregano, mint, and green onions. So I'm going to go ahead and mix the ingredients for the sauce together, and then I'm going to go ahead and make the meatballs. So get all of that together, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I get it all combined. Okay, so for my marinara sauce, I just mixed up my whatever favorite sauce that you like with some about a tablespoon of brown sugar and my cinnamon stick. If you don't have a cinnamon stick, use about a half of a teaspoon to 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and that should be fine. And then in here I've just got all of my spices mixed up. I've got my egg, breadcrumbs, cumin, parsley, cayenne, cinnamon, I think I said that, salt and pepper, olive oil. I've got all of that in there, and then I just mixed it up until it was well combined. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and add in my turkey, mix that up, and then shape them into meatballs and get them into my baking dish. And I've got my oven preheated to 350 degrees. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so I've got the meatballs done, and I just put them in a pan with a little bit of olive oil over about medium-low heat. I'm going to let these cook for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side, just to develop some color on the top and bottom of the meatballs. I'm going to take them out and put them in my baking dish. Okay guys, so I just cooked the meatballs about 2 minutes on each side, and then I put a little bit of marinara sauce on the bottom of my baking dish. This is an 8x8, but you can double this if you want. Just put a little bit of that marinara sauce on the bottom, put my meatballs down, and then I'm just going to top it with the remaining bit of marinara sauce, and I'm going to put this in the oven for about 25 to 35 minutes, or until the meatballs are completely cooked through. In the meantime, I'm going to cook my quinoa. Okay guys, so these have been in the oven for about 35 minutes and they're completely cooked through, and that is ready to go. I've got my quinoa done. This cooked about 20 minutes. It's just quinoa and some chicken broth. So I've got that done. I've got some peas on the counter over here. So I'm going to get this plated up, and I will show you what it looks like when once I get it all plated. Alright guys, so here is my plate. I've got some peas, just has some butter, salt and pepper in it, very simply seasoned. I've got the quinoa and some meatballs with marinara here. If you don't want to do quinoa, you can do like a pasta, whatever kind of pasta you have on hand. That'll be really delicious with this. So yeah, that's what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so for dinner tonight, we're just gonna have pizza. I have been sealing some food items up in my little food saver get up here. So we are gonna have some of this Surfer Boy pizza. This is the multi-meat pizza. I like these. I mean, they're not anything to rave over. It's a freezer pizza, but this is what we're gonna have for dinner tonight. I'm just gonna cook it according to the directions on the package, and I'll show you what it looks like when I get it done. Okay, so here is the pizza when it's all nice and done. It looks delicious. I'm going to pair this with some salad greens, probably some ranch dressing this time. And yeah, that's what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, so for dinner tonight, I'm going to be making beef and broccoli. It's absolutely delicious, and it's very, very easy to make. I've got my rice going in my Instant Pot. It's just 1.5 cups of rice, 1.5 cups of water on the rice setting. I'm just going to let it hang out, do its thing. And I've got my recipe book here. It's from this Campbell's Quick and Easy recipe book. I've just got the page marked here where the recipe is so I can look at it. And then for ingredients, you're going to need some broccoli. I've got some beef here. This is a roast that I had in the freezer that I needed to use up, so I just thinly sliced that up. But you can use whatever style or cut of meat that you like, just as long as it's thinly sliced. I typically buy the whole cut of meat and then slice it myself because it's cheaper. I've got some avocado oil, some soy sauce, got some garlic, ginger, just regular vinegar, regular white vinegar, and a can of tomato soup. So what I'm going to do now is just add some soy sauce into my meat and mix that around a minute, and then I'm going to heat up a pan over medium-low heat, and then I'm going to cook half of my meat until it gets just about cooked through, and then I'll take it out to a plate and then cook the other half, and then I will bring you right back. Okay, so I brought you back just to tell you that I added some pepper to this and about half of a teaspoon of baking soda, and then just mix that up. It's just going to help it get like a more velvety texture and keep it kind of tender. The baking soda will do that. So I'm just going to let this hang out while I get my pan hot and cook half of this, remove it to a plate, and then I'm just going to cook the other half, and then I'll bring you back. Okay, so here is the meat. I just took it off of out of the pan, and I've got it here on the plate. I just put a little bit of avocado oil in my pan and added half of the meat, cooked it about 2 minutes on one side, flipped it over, cooked it for about a minute or so on the other side, and then just removed it to this plate here. If you are using fresh cut broccoli, you'll want to cook your broccoli now in the pan with a little bit of oil. But since I'm using frozen broccoli, which I've thawed, I'm just going to go ahead and heat it through, add the sauce and all of that. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to add everything else to the pan. I'll show you. Okay, so I've got my broccoli in my pan here, and I'm just going to let this heat up about a minute or so, just to bring the broccoli up to temperature, and then I'm going to add in all of my other ingredients. Okay, so I've added my garlic, and I'm just going to mix that through. Turn my heat down to low, because I want my broccoli to stay nice and green. Okay, then now I'm going to add in my tomato soup. Some ginger. I'm going to add in my vinegar and my soy sauce. And now I'm just going to mix this up and let this heat all through, and then we will add the meat back in. Okay, so I added the meat back in and I gave it a taste and added a little bit more pepper. But this is pretty much good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my heat off and get this all plated up, and I'll show you what it's like. Okay guys, so this is what it looks like when it's all plated. I just got some rice, some of the beef and broccoli stir fry. I topped it with some black sesame seeds, and yeah, literally a delicious meal on your table in under 20 minutes. It's absolutely delicious. So yeah, that is what's for dinner tonight. Okay, so for dinner tonight, I'm going to be making some roast chicken. I've got my oven preheated to 425 degrees. I've got my chicken here in my cast iron. I like to cook chicken in cast iron. I think it just holds the heat better, but you can do this in a roasting pan or whatever you have on hand. You can cover it with foil, and then the last 15 to 20 minutes of bake time, you can take it off, let the skin crisp up. But I've got that in there. Here's all the spices that I'm going to be using. Got some parsley, some thyme, onion powder and garlic powder, some salt and pepper. I've got some basil, and I've got this honey garlic barbecue rub that I'm going to put a little bit of that on. I've also got some coconut oil. You can use any kind of oil that you have on hand. And I've got some lemon. This is going to go inside the chicken just to keep it a little bit aromatic. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of my spices on my chicken and my oil on my chicken, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've got all of my seasonings on my chicken. I got my meat thermometer in there. So I'm going to put a lid on this and put this in the oven. I'm going to let it cook for about an hour to an hour and a half, just until it reaches 180 degrees in the thickest part of the meat, which is the thigh. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and when it gets closer time to the chicken being done, we will make some sides to go with it. Okay guys, so for one of my side dishes, I'm going to do onion rice. I've got a cup of rice in here, as well as some water, about a cup of water. I'm going to be using this right here. This is the onion mushroom flavor. So I'm just going to add that in there and give that a stir and set that on the rice setting and let it do its thing. And then I'm just going to have some green beans on the side. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started, and I'll show you the chicken when it's done. Okay guys, here is the chicken right when I pull it out. It's super hot. I cooked it till it reached about 180 degrees. It was about an hour and a half. Then I just took the lid off and let it cook an extra 10 minutes just to crisp up the skin a little bit. So we are waiting on the rice and the green beans, so I will show you everything once I get it plated. Alright guys, so here is my plate. I have some onion rice here, some green beans with salt and pepper, and some roasted chicken. And that is what's for dinner tonight. Okay, so for this week's meal plan, we're going to have BLTs and french fries for Monday's dinner. Tuesday, we're going to have some mushroom pizza. I've got some mushrooms in the refrigerator that I really need to use up, so we're going to make mushroom pizza for Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to make bean and cheese enchiladas with some rotel rice. I haven't had that in a while, so I thought that sounded really good, so I'm going to make that. Thursday, we're going to have a ravioli with homemade tomato basil sauce. It's super easy. And we're going to have some roasted broccoli to go along with that. Friday, I think I'm going to make cube steak, gravy, and zucchini and squash. I don't normally like to eat a bunch of fried foods, but cube steak sounded really good. So I've got that in the freezer that I need to use up. So I'm going to make that for Friday, and as you know, Saturday and Sundays are leftovers unless we go out to eat. So that is this week's meal plan, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.